Good afternoon, everybody. How is everyone on this Friday? It's already Friday. Where did the time go this week? Got a lot to catch you up on. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Kitryn Marie. I reside in St. Louis, Missouri, an artist, writer, speaker, life, and a business coach. Going to try to fit a whole bunch of stuff in less than 20 minutes. I hope you had a really good week this week. I hope you're gearing up for your holiday. I hope you are resting up for your holiday. I hope you are ready to tackle on whatever weather comes your way. It's kind of like cold and dreary here. Just came from my Ruby girl, worked her a good half hour or so, gave her ivermectin for her deworming medicine. Trying to do a little bit more on the vet side myself to save me some pennies. Gonna get situated here. I am on my rotating device, although I don't have it on. And I was trying to video record, I can't talk, from the other app, but it wouldn't let me, so I'll have to go back and do that. You know, this time of year, we look at all of our equipment and our tools that we have, and we kind of assess what has worked for us and what has not worked for us through the year. And like I said in my last video, we want to finish out this year like we wanted to start the year, afresh, new, creative ideas, rejuvenated from whatever nonsense may have gone on in any of your lives. You know, you start the new year just a little freer. You start the year with new hope, new inspirations. You start the new year with the intention that the year is going to be the best year ever that you've had. And over the last couple of years, I've had some fantastic years. You know, things may have not ended the way that they should have, or the way that things did go by a wayside, but it was the in-between things that led me to being able to finish out this year like I started the year, looking forward going into the next year. Hope that made sense. This week we laid my uncle to rest, my godfather. It was 2 days of interacting with family, and this time of year it's always difficult being with family. You know, and I had to stop and kind of reassess, because I have to gear my mind up when it comes to dealing with my family. And trust me, my family probably feels the exact same way about me. And if you asked any of them what I did for a living, or how I made my money, or what my dreams were, they have no clue. They really don't. You know, and when you're at a wake, a funeral, or family gatherings, you know, you only can talk so much to so many people in a short amount of time before you go on to, you know, the next person. But, you know, my one cousin, it was his father that had passed away, and we were talking briefly about why none of us get together anymore. And as he pretty much put it into plain words, you know, our lives have taken different paths. And when the matriarchs of the family all pass away, they're the ones that usually hold the families together. You know, they invite over for holidays or birthdays, or, you know, send out those, hey, come on by for dinner kind of things. And I was briefly joking with my cousin Chris about every time I go to make my sauce, which is my Graham's recipe. When Graham made stuffed green peppers, Chris always showed up. He just always showed up. I had said to him, you know, jokingly, when I'm making sauce and stuffed green peppers, I always look out my front door, just in case he's going to like show up out of nowhere. But as he continued to say, you know, we all make our choices. We all live our lives the best we know how. And we all lie in the bed that we make. And we don't have to associate with other family members if we choose not to. And he had proceeded to say, there are moments I miss when we were all kids because we all lived together in one kind of commune household. They lived upstairs. I lived downstairs with my sister, my grandma, my grandpa, and my aunt. But he said, other than missing those moments are gone and over. And I agree. Families go on. It is not healthy to live in the past, but like I said again in a previous video, we think of those memories during the holidays, and we think about the times that we used to have. And on Christmas Eve, after our family would leave, because usually my grandma would have Christmas Eve, and my cousin Chris would come downstairs with the Yahtzee game, and because him and I would play Yahtzee, or we'd play Monopoly, or we'd play quarters if we had all our friends over. And if you don't know what quarters is, you would have a shot glass of some alcohol. Now, mind you, we were teenagers, and you would, I forget exactly how it went, but you had to bounce the quarter, and if the quarter landed in the shot glass, you had to drink the shot glass. And I think it was mostly beer, because our family didn't do hard liquor. But anyway, we were talking about, things like that, and I kind of stopped to think, my kids have missed out so much on that family dynamic of what chaos was. One, when we all lived together, but two, during the holidays, we would just look forward to getting together. And in the brief moment that I spent 2 days with my family, it was awkward. My sister came into town, and my sister lives her life, states over, and rarely does she come home anymore. My cousin Stephanie, who is Chris's sister, she's in a very grieving state, just like I'm sure Chris is. It doesn't go away. Grief lingers with you whenever there is a deep loss. And with the holidays, we grieve so many different things. We grieve the relationships that didn't work out. We grieve the family that, has passed. We grieve the traditions that aren't living within us anymore. And although, we think about those, it is in the past, and it isn't what we're doing now. My daughter was there, and, I'm like, what are we doing for the holidays? What are we doing? And she's like, I have no idea, Mom. She said, I'll let you know. And I'm going to go spend the night with my grandkids on the 16th. And I've got an art project to do with feathers and glitter and markers and all kinds of stuff. So, we'll have a good time making some Christmas angels for the windows or for the tree. But, when somebody passes and that one person isn't holding the family together, you need to prepare yourself for the change that is going to come in years ahead, in the months ahead. The grieving goes in stages, and it comes like waves. Like anything that you've lost, like anything that you've left behind, it hits you in moments where you think you're fine, and then you don't think you're fine. I love Christmas. Christmas is a wonderful, wonderful time of year. But because of not having family and not having the tradition that I used to have, and with my children now being older, I've always said, I would love to go away for Christmas. There's no reason in the world that I can't celebrate Christmas after the fact. And for my own mental health and for my own peace of mind, being away from Christmas probably would behoove me a lot better than the last 5 Christmases. It just changes. Everything changes. When the weather gets colder, people's personalities change. Seasonal depression sets in. And when you're working in the elements, I seem to think that tempers flare. It's uncomfortable being cold. It's uncomfortable if you're working in water. It's uncomfortable if you're climbing up a pole. It's uncomfortable if you're a fireman and you're having to put out a fire. The weather does something to a person's psyche, whether you want to admit it or believe it or not. And this morning when I was getting up, I was just kind of thinking, this time of year with tempers flaring the way that they do, you need to, this thing is going to fall over. You need to stop and think what your attitude and what your disposition is in your job. Like that, maybe that'll stay. What your disposition is in your job, so you are not creating an environment that is uncomfortable for your co-workers. I just had this feeling that with the holidays and because of all the stress that a lot of us have been through during the year, someone's going to lose their temper and it could result in losing their job. Someone's going to lose their cool and it's going to have an abrupt eruption within co-workers, and things may be said that you don't want to say, but in the heat of the moment, because you are not minding your disposition, it will alter the outcome of your job. A lot of companies, they don't have parties anymore. A lot of companies, you're lucky if you get a thank you for being there for the year. Corporations are struggling. People are struggling with their paychecks, making sure that, there's enough to go around during the year. So you get to the holidays and it just becomes more stressful because it seems like it's never enough. It's not enough. I had said to a friend at the barn today, spring, I would like to move, and I've said that over the last however many, I'm ready to go. Being able to show income in order to get a loan. But I had said to her, with the income that I am making and for the amount of bills that I am paying for, it would only make sense now to be in a position where I can go elsewhere, where I can continue creating the lifestyle that I want with my horses and with my art. And, it goes back to when I was trying to have these conversations with my family, they're like, so where are you at these days? And you give the brief rundown. Well, I've been doing this, I've been doing that. And as soon as I get to, and I studied to be a life coach, it went over their head. So as I try to rebrand an identity and rebrand my business and create these traditions and do the things that I need to do, so even my own family knows who I am and what I have been up to. Now, I know this video has just been a bunch of rambling nonsense, but these are things that have been on my mind the last couple days, and being very authentic, sharing them with my audience, whether it be through YouTube, TikTok, or Facebook, and even Instagram. I just laugh. My family has no clue what I do. They just think, oh, it's just Kit. It's just crazy. Absolutely crazy. What about your family? Do they know what you do? Do they know where your interests are? Do they know where your passions are? Should have seen the look on my cousin's face when I said, yeah, I own a horse now. He says, you what? I said, I own a horse. He goes, and where do you keep it? And I go, well, not in my backyard. When you're so out of touch with your family and they are so out of touch with who you've become, it makes you stop and think. It really, really makes you stop and think. How can a family be so close at one point, and as you get to be a certain age, they have no clue who you are or what you do or why you even went into the field that you went into? They don't know. They don't know. And I think this year going forward, reach out to those family members. You be the one to make the effort to say, hey, I'm going to be here. If you would like to join me, if you would like to come over, if you would like to blah, 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 let your family know who you are and what you do. They would be very surprised in how you were inspired by a certain other family member. Like I said, with all my art, if it wasn't for my Uncle Ted, I don't think I would be the instructor that I am today. You know, he was a very social, wonderful person, you know, loved gathering, loved getting people together, was a funny man. So these are just things, you know, there's a lot of other things I could be talking about, but I'm just kind of drawing a blank at the moment. So I hope you enjoy your weekend. I will be working Saturday and Sunday night, doing what I love to do, force feeding people and entertaining them and just talking them to death like I'm doing you right now. So for today, for tomorrow, be happy, be blessed, be thankful for all the wonderful things that do come in to your world. Remember, fate does turn on a dime, and only you get to decide what side of that coin you want to be on. You know, I started when I was doing this thinking about what I was going to talk about. I was going to talk about the noise that you make as a kid and the things that you do to get attention. That might pretty much be what I was trying to do through this whole video, talking about my family and them not knowing what I do. Silly. It's all very silly. So y'all take care, and I'll see you real soon. Maybe the next time I come on, I'll make more sense. Bye.